ESPN's dynamic trio, elevating women's college game day. Tampa, Florida. Picture this: a sea of maroon and orange, the air buzzing with excitement, and thousands of passionate fans ready to cheer on their team. That was the scene back in February 2024 when Elle Duncan, the vibrant host of ESPN's College GameDay, made her way to Virginia Tech's Cassell Coliseum. It was a historic moment as the women's basketball edition of GameDay broadcasted live from an ACC venue for the very first time. The Hokies fans, loud and proud, created an electric atmosphere as they gathered to support their nationally ranked team in a thrilling matchup against the North Carolina Tar Heels. Fast forward to this past season, and Duncan, along with her dynamic co-hosts Andraya Carter and Chiney Ogwumike, found themselves at Reynolds Coliseum on the North Carolina State University campus in Raleigh. The energy was palpable, and Duncan couldn't help but reassess her list of favorite game day locations. We choose our spots wisely, and NC State was a fantastic experience, as she shared with SB Nation at the Final Four. Virginia Tech was incredible, but NC State? They outdid themselves. Fans were lining up outside the historic arena the night before the game. The excitement didn't stop there. NC State's coach, Wes Moore, greeted the dedicated fans with free donuts on game day, just hours before the Wolfpack pulled off a stunning upset against number 1 Notre Dame in double overtime, all in front of a sold-out crowd. The atmosphere was electric, and Ogwumike couldn't help but chuckle. That was my favorite. Should I be saying that? I'm sorry. But going there was just awesome. College Game Day is a beloved staple of ESPN, with its football counterpart kicking off in 1987 and hitting the road in 1993. Over the years, it has evolved into the iconic show we know today, featuring memorable moments like Lee Corso donning a mascot head at the end of each episode. As the football version prepares for a new chapter with fresh faces like Pat McAfee and Nick Saban, the women's basketball edition is also carving out its own identity. In 2005, ESPN took the successful formula of its football pregame show and applied it to men's college basketball. However, it wasn't until 2022 that the women's version made a significant comeback, coinciding with a surge in the sport's popularity. From just one show in 2022 to 3 in 2023, and 5 in 2024, the momentum is undeniable. Although a 5th show was planned for last season, it was unfortunately cancelled due to snow. As the show continues to grow, Duncan, Carter, and Ogwumike have become prominent figures in women's basketball at ESPN. It's been amazing, E. Carter expressed. I'm thrilled that we're back together. We have this incredible chemistry, and it's like we never miss a beat. We come back with all our inside jokes and energy intact. When discussing the future of College Game Day, the trio is united in their desire for more. We're hoping for even more shows. Duncan exclaimed. There's definitely a desire for it, and the sponsorship is there. It's all about logistics, but we're committed to making it happen. Carter chimed in, more shows, bigger crowds, and more excitement. Ogwumike added, there's a unique camaraderie in women's basketball where we uplift each other. The goal is to have more game days. This past season, men's College Game Day aired 16 times, with 10 of those from on-site locations. In contrast, the women's show didn't kick off until February 16th, with a 2-hour special before UConn faced South Carolina. The hosts recognize that they don't control the schedule, but they are eager to see the show start earlier in the season. If it were up to me, we'd be out there the very first week. Duncan laughed. But I know it's not that simple. It would be fantastic to start earlier, and we're even getting creative with our game days on Thursdays. Carter, a former standout at Tennessee, has worn many hats at ESPN, from studio analyst for women's college basketball to sideline reporter for SEC football. She envisions the women's game day evolving into a standalone show, similar to its male counterparts, rather than just a pre-game segment. I'd love to see it become more of a standalone show where fans come just for the experience, with more interaction and excitement. Duncan added, "We're still figuring out if this show is better as a pre-game or a standalone, but the response has been incredible." This season, every women's game day led into a game broadcasted by an ESPN network, with the exception of a highly anticipated matchup between Ohio State and Iowa that aired on Fox. In contrast, the men's game day has ventured to locations for games not aired on ESPN, always chasing the biggest stories, regardless of the conference. This has sparked some frustration for Ogwumike, who pointed out that game day didn't make it to Los Angeles this season, despite the presence of two top programs and standout players like USC's Juju Watkins and UCLA's Lauren Betts. "We were really hoping to go out to LA." Carter added, "USC and UCLA are definitely on our wish list. However, both schools are in the Big Ten, where their games are broadcast by NBC and Fox, complicating the logistics." Yet, Ogwumike remains hopeful, stating, "I believe it's crucial for us to get to the West Coast. We have incredible talent there, and I'm advocating for it." Since 2022, Women's Game Day has visited 7 SEC locations, 4 ACC games, and 2 Big Ten games, but it has yet to reach venues in the Big East, Big Ten, or Big 12. "We didn't even get to go to UConn, which is right in ESPN's backyard." Ogwumike lamented, "Imagine the stories we could tell by visiting these incredible athletes." This fall, ESPN has a golden opportunity to meet the demands of the game day stars. While Watkins may be sidelined due to injury, USC is set to host South Carolina in a highly anticipated matchup on November 15th. Dubbed the Real SC Battle, this game will be played on a Saturday and aired by Fox. Will ESPN take the plunge and broadcast from a rival network for this must-see women's basketball clash? When the game was announced, Duncan and her crew eagerly reached out to their bosses. "We were like, so, we're going here then? It's an earlier season matchup, and it would be a dream come true."